probably one of the most popular questions we ever receive is, what is the best way to make PDFs accessible? And unfortunately, this is a really popular question for terrible reasons. It's because it's really, really hard to do. And so many public sector members have to comply with this. And honestly, I don't think there's a single one who relishes that challenge. It's pretty difficult. I've got a few headline points to get you started. If this is something people want to go into more, I could easily do an hour on this. But to get you going, the first thing I'd recommend is using the native file if possible. And what I mean by that is, if you have a Word document especially, and a lot of PDFs are Word documents, you don't want to try and fix the PDF. What you want to do is you want to go into Word, and there's a couple of options. You can easily Google this information, but it's very simple. If you set a couple of options when you export a Word file into a PDF, it will do most of the work of making it accessible for you. And if you're doing the Word document correctly, it will do basically all the work. So again, that's probably almost a 5-10 minute demo in itself. I'm not going to cover today, but it's quite straightforward if you wanted to Google it. Basically, as long as you're using semantic headings in Word and a few other things, when you export the Word document, you can embed all the alternative text. You can do all of those things, and you just get a PDF that works out the gate. And that is always the easiest approach if you can do it. So I highly, highly recommend doing that with Word files. I know you're not going to like this answer, but making a HTML version is often the best answer. It does, of course, depend on the PDF and the content. If the content is relatively straightforward to copy and paste, for example, if it's linear content like paragraphs and headings, it's often the easiest option. It does depend. The canonical answer to this question is, and I'm rolling my eyes here for a reason, Adobe Acrobat. So we do use a lot of tools at Silktide to help with this task. And I've used Acrobat a lot. I've used a number of others. Because I'm a Mac user, it's generally quite difficult. There's more tools on Windows than there are on Mac. But annoyingly, Acrobat is probably the best tool, even though it's terrible. I wish I didn't have to give that answer. It does make it relatively easy to comply with some of the basics, such as providing headings and languages. Where it falls down, in my experience, it is quite slow. It has a tendency to crash. And if you're getting outside of the basic accessibility requirements, so if you need to get into something more complex like tagging, it can be a bit of a pain. But it is still probably the least bad tool out there. The secret answer number 4 is Silktide is actually releasing our own competitor to that. So I might be biased, but it isn't out yet. So that'll just have to be a watch this space. But we kind of got annoyed with having to apologize for Acrobat all the time. So we tried to build something better.